Born into racing, 27-year-old Charlie Kimball has beaten some of the world's best. Born into racing, 27-year-old Charlie Kimball has beaten some of the world's best, from the go-kart tracks of his native California to the road courses of Europe. Now in his second season in the IZOD IndyCar Series, Kimball arrives at Texas Motor Speedway on a tear, with top 10 finishes in the last 3 races, including the Indianapolis 500. Over the next 36 hours, Charlie Kimball faces one of his toughest on-track challenges. But it's nothing compared to the off-track challenges he's mastered to compete and succeed at this highest level of racing. It's Charlie Kimball on IndyCar 36. It's 10 o'clock Friday morning at Texas Motor Speedway, and Charlie Kimball is spending some quality time with his dad, Gordon, who's flown in from California for the race weekend.
For sure. The first go-kart race we sort of flew home from was Iowa, I guess.
Yeah.
It was Marshalltown.
Yeah.
I was like, man, it's so weird to be getting on a plane to head home. And I remember you looking at me and go, this is normal.
It felt more normal.
Yeah, because all of your years in racing, you finished the race and you got on a plane and flew home.
Sunday night.
I think it was a double-edged sword having an engineer who'd won the Indy 500, who'd won Formula One World Championships, running my go-kart. Not only because he was my dad, and sometimes I didn't need the world champion engineer, I just needed my dad to give me a hug and say, it's gonna be okay.
Well, that was a magic time. Honestly, I expected that he'd finish high school and go to college, and that would be the end of the go-karting and the racing. I didn't have any plan. And even when he said, okay, I really want to do this, it's okay. The car racing, the go-karting was us together. If you want to race cars, I'll help you, but that's your thing. You have to make it happen, and it's not my dream, it's your dream.
That dream is alive and well on a busy Friday in Texas. The team puts the finishing touches on the 83 car, while drivers and engineers plan for the day. The Novo Nordisk Chip Ganassi team tested well here a few weeks ago, but IndyCar has changed a few rules since then. Team engineer Brad Goldberg explains.
Basically, they've taken downforce away from us, so it's going to make the car harder to drive. But the mentality is still the same. It's still Texas, it's still bumpy, it's still high banked, it's still very high speed. But the approach on the race is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a lot harder to drive. It's going to reward patience.
Patience is something everyone will need, as the first practice is delayed. Rainstorms the day before have left weepers bubbling up through the track, despite the bright Texas sunshine. Charlie takes the time to bring Brad up to speed on some less technical racing terms.
As long as you don't like the waffle bellies, you're good.
The waffle belly? What's a waffle belly?
A waffle belly is a race fan that presses up against the chain link fence as the cars go by.
No way. No way.
Yep, that's a dirt track term, waffle belly.
Is it really?
That's a waffle belly, yeah.
They thought this IndyCar 36 was real, technical and in-depth and real, we're going to get to see the lives of the IndyCar guys, and all we're doing is talking about waffle bellies.
With both my parents, I'm very fortunate because they're two very different people. From my dad's side, I've inherited a very technical engineering mind, very linear. From my mom, she has such a great outgoing attitude, great personality. And I've inherited that as well. So any day in the race shop at the racetrack, both of those people will come out.
But playtime is over. The track is dry, and it's time to get to work. The practice session starts with a simulated qualifying run.
flap. Yep. Have a steering typically. Checker flag. Hit this flap. Hit now. Clear to pit. Yeah, he lifted into one that time.
It's pretty scary. It's just totally light mid-corner. The thing's just really grabbing on the front, and then the exit it wanted to rotate really badly on the rear.
I can calm that down a little bit with some left rear toe.
Yeah.
It is 1,300 pounds of downforce. I mean, that you are the quickest by now by a big chunk.
That doesn't last long, however. Speeds start to climb for the rest of the field, and the team works to get a handle on the 83 car.
Use your weight jacker if you need a little help. Use your weight jacker. See what that does.
That definitely made the front grabbier.
Okay.
Through the mid-corner to exit.
That's not what we want, so let's go the other way.
Yeah.
By the end of the practice session, they have not tamed the beast.
And they're all the way down to like thunder strings.
Yeah, they like them.
I just don't like the confidence. Like there's no platform on the back of the car.
Yeah, some of it's they softened the front as well, so they went down all around.
And that may be it.
A late start to practice means the Novo Nordisk Chip Ganassi crew will have less than an hour to prepare the ill-handling car for qualifying. Charlie has stepped out to put on his other hat and meet a fan with whom he shares a very special bond. Both are diabetic. He got the news while racing in Europe in 2007.
I remember telling my dad that I felt like I was running as fast as I could, but I wasn't going anywhere. I went into the doctor's office for a skin rash. Doctor gave me some cream, and he goes, well, you know, is there anything else going on? Have you lost any weight? And he pulled out a scale, and he had me jump on the scales. And in 5 days, I'd lost 25 pounds. And as an athlete, I didn't have 25 pounds to lose. And the doctor said, I want to do some more tests, but I think you have diabetes. I went, great. What's that? I'll be the first to put my hand up and say I'm very ignorant. I was very ignorant about what diabetes was.
It was clear he'd found something he really loved. My fear was that he would lose that.
Instead, Charlie accepted the challenge of diabetes and finished second in his first race back less than a year later.
When I was diagnosed, I wasn't doing anything. I was doing no exercise at all.
Pretty soon you'll be doing triathlons.
I am going to do a triathlon.
Really?
Absolutely. You do triathlon?
I'm wanting to. The swimming would be an issue for me.
Oh, okay.
See, I love the running and the biking.
Yeah. See, we can do one together.
Yeah, you come and swim the leg, and we'll cycle the leg together, and then I'll do the run.
Absolutely.
I like that. That sounds like a good plan.
They swap stories for a few more minutes while the team swaps parts. It's almost time to qualify on IndyCar 36. IndyCar 36 is brought to you by Firestone, the first name in Indy racing.
We have had 4 qualifiers so far. Tony Kanaan the fastest, and now Charlie Kimball is on the racetrack.
Coming down, take the green. Green. Too much understeer. You watch. Oh yeah. That's okay. Pretty long range. Checker flag.
Charlie's not happy with his qualifying speed. Team manager Mitch Davis thinks they gave up on some of the early setups too soon.
The car we unloaded with at the start of the day was way too free. But after, rubbering the track in,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But that's something that we can't just say Charlie go out there. Do it, right? But we're going to race for a long time, so you can't don't be disappointed. We're going racing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Charlie,
that's the way I look at it.
jump in here real quick. A quick question. How is that race car right now?
Well, I think the race car is a totally different animal than the qualifying car. They're not the same thing here.
After going out early, Charlie spends the rest of qualification sizing up the competition and analyzing data with team engineer Brad Goldberg, looking for ways to improve the car in the final practice session. But fate has thrown another left curve at Charlie Kimball this weekend. Behind the shades, his head is pounding. Charlie's caught a cold. After checking in with teammate and mentor Scott Dixon, he decides he's had enough.
I'll go see the guys in the med center, but
With qualifications over, Charlie's off to the med center, while the team sees what they can do to get the car where it needs to be to race.
It doesn't really matter where you qualify here because the racing is so good, so we want to go out there and work on our racecraft. You can't race a car that's not drivable here.
The late day final practice should give drivers a good feel for track conditions when the green flag flies in a little over 24 hours. Charlie's feeling better and ready to see if he and the team can get the 83 car dialed in.
Can we pull 6 gear if we go to the high line? Try that high line when you get a minute. Try the high line.
Now he can stay.
Yellow for debris. Yellow, yellow. Got cut tire. Cut tire.
10-4, pitting off for 4. The car is much better like that. Entry to mid-corner. You have pretty big understeer.
Like aero low?
Yeah, like aero low.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't deny that.
As team engineer Brad analyzes car data, Charlie's other engineer, his father Gordon, has a question.
Are you getting blood sugar on the steering wheel?
No, I wasn't that time. Do you want me to power cycle the car?
It probably wouldn't hurt. Yeah, we got time.
Okay. Yep, there we go. We have connectivity.
The engineers monitor the car. The Honda guy stands beside me and monitors the engine, and then I monitor the driver. I ended up being the one sort of managing the project, and we got some engineers to do it and directed it, and so I watch it during the races.
I can physically tell how the car is handling by his glucose monitor we watch in pit lane. His numbers change by the activity. If the car is handling really bad, he's more active on the steering wheel, more active on the throttle and the brake and all that stuff, and his number changes significantly versus when it's a nice, smooth, and comfortable but fast car. It's quite cool.
The checkered flag falls along with the sun on the early evening practice session. The team feels better about the car as they close up shop for the night. Charlie and Brad run into Graham Rahal to compare notes on the new challenges at Texas.
You got to use 2 or 3 lanes to hold the car under you.
Yeah, not out of 4, but out of 2.
Out of 2, yeah.
And the longer I run, the more I have to use.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the more correction you've got as you come over the crest, yeah.
But I think, like, also, if I could get understeer out, it would make that so much better.
Yeah.
Because particularly when you're in traffic and you push and it comes over the crest, that's when the thing gets this, like, really quick.
Yeah, because you're here, right?
Yeah.
Instead of here.
Like, literally, it's the most steering I've had in on an oval in years.
The time for practice is over. Charlie Kimball opts to lay low for the evening. His diabetes he can manage, but as everyone knows, you just have to muscle through a cold.
Today wasn't a great day. I mean, practice wasn't perfect, qualifying wasn't ideal, but the thing was we made big progress in that last practice, so I've got a lot of confidence back. I'm still feeling a little under the weather. I think I've picked up a cold over these last 3 races back to back to back, so get some rest and I'll be good to go tomorrow.
It's a hot race day morning at the Texas Motor Speedway. IndyCar driver Charlie Kimball is battling a cold and opts to sleep in late and spend the early part of the day laying low. Charlie's girlfriend Kathleen serves lunch, and after a quick check of his blood sugar, they dive in.
Really is kind of a funky schedule here.
I'm not used to all this time in the morning.
I know. I don't mind the sleeping in, that's for sure. As much as the guys repair the race car, fuel it, oil it, everything else, I'm doing the same thing with my body, making sure that I'm getting the nutrition, I'm getting the hydration, I'm managing my blood sugars, taking my injections as needed, all the way through, so that when I'm ready for the race and it's time to go racing, physically, mentally, emotionally, I'm prepared to give it everything I can.
The green flag, however, is still over 9 hours away, but Charlie Kimball's day is packed full. It's time to meet and greet. Invariably, the topic of diabetes does come up.
Driving the car is physical enough that my blood sugar tends to burn off. There you go. Thank you.
So you don't have any problem with 500, correct?
No, I didn't have any issues this year. So.
Okay, good to hear.
Cool.
Because I'm type 2.
Okay.
So appreciate everything you're doing.
No problem. Thank you. The interesting thing about my partnership with Novo Nordisk is, for me, it started the day I was diagnosed. When I first injected Novolog, when I first took their insulin to manage my blood sugar, I knew exactly who they were. They had no idea I even existed. Together, we've grown our partnership all the way from a small logo on my suit and talking about having diabetes to a full program. The opportunity for me to meet all sorts of great people with diabetes across the country, tell them my story and hear their stories. It reminds me that no matter how good or bad a day I have at the racetrack, it's more important than just me in the race car.
Charlie's dance card is full deep into the afternoon. But now, all focus is on the race that starts in a little over 2 hours. The first task is fuel, the human kind. For Charlie, his race day meal is as much science as art.
So she weighs the carbs, the protein, fruit. I know sort of maximum number of carbs that's in the meal and the protein balance.
Fully fueled, Charlie joins teammate Graham Rahal in the final pre-race strategy session. Team owner Chip Ganassi presiding.
At the end of these stints, are the tires going to go the whole stint?
We're on the good side of it here. We've got good cars, but there are guys up and down here scared shitless, and they think they're going into this thing and there's no way it's going to pack up, and it probably never will. Because you can feel the aero effect so far back.
You got to be.
I got a hard time believing anybody's going to stay right up under.
It's almost like, you were talking with Dario last night about the old Champ Car days, almost like Milwaukee with Speedway wings. You're going to be sliding around during the stint, that you're going to have to be looking for grip and looking low line, high line, opening it up, just taking care of the tires for a whole stint.
The fans now pouring in have no idea they are about to witness one of the wildest IndyCar races in Texas Motor Speedway history. As the tension builds outside, Charlie continues his pre-race rituals.
A lot of people I know call it a nap. I don't always sleep. It's an opportunity for me to just kind of clean up my mental desk before I go out and compete.
The time for contemplation is over. We're less than an hour from the green flag, and pre-race rituals are in high gear.
It's going to be a long race. 228 laps around here.
You sure we can't pit now for time?
Yeah.
All right, good luck.
Have a good one.
Please welcome racing legend A.J. Foyt. Boys and girls, start your engines.
Okay, pace cars off. They're going to let you get on the front straightaway here. They're going. Green, green, green. We're racing.
Outside. We're open outside. Little gap behind Justin. Clear to the top. Carpenter outside. We're open outside. Carpenter outside. Clear high if you want it. Go high, dude. Go high.
Start using your tools when you need them. Start using your tools.
Charlie slides back a few spots to start the race. He settles into a rhythm around lap 20, but then finds himself trying to find a way around the car of E.J. Visa.
Steady Bob. Got plenty of room behind you. Set Visa up. That's not working.
How much, Tony? You're going to have to work on him on the high side. That bottom line's not working.
Oh, we spun. Yep, we're going backwards.
IndyCar 36 was brought to you by Firestone, the first name in Indy racing.
I'm okay, guys.
All right.
Just caught in his wash and snapped.
IndyCar driver Charlie Kimball's race ends early at the Texas Motor Speedway. Charlie makes the mandatory trip to the infield care center. His car goes back to the garage. A few laps later, a frustrated Charlie makes it back to the War Wagon.
What was Viso doing? Every time I'd go low, he'd go low. Every time I went high, he went high. Because he did it like 4 laps in a row down here, and you're like, okay, the low line's not working. So I started working the high line, and he started chopping me there.
Yeah, we saw that. I don't think the car's that bad, actually.
Nah, I mean, it slid a long ways before it hit the fence.
Yeah.
Though Charlie's race is over, his day is not. 3 Ganassi cars are still in the hunt, and as long as his teammates are racing, there's a lot to be learned from the pit box that might help in the future.
Back to green flag racing. Graham Rahal will try to chase down Scott Dixon. As Dixon is out in front, he's got a gaggle of cars behind him heading to 2.
After inspecting the crashed car back at the garage, team manager Mitch Davis makes his way back to the pit box with a damage report.
It's not bad. It didn't get into exhaust. It's got the left side suspension, the under tray, and the gearbox needs to come off and get checked.
It's good news. Charlie and the Novo Nordisk Chip Ganassi team have to be in Iowa on Tuesday for a test, and the crew will work into the night to get the 83 car ready to run.
So Dario came in, he went 2 laps down, disconnecting the rear bar. Santos spun off the into 2 and crashed. Anybody that's behind Dixon and Graham, they have no air, and they're all crashing and sliding.
But as the lap count climbs, it becomes clear that no one is immune to the changes in car handling over longer race stints.
Scott Dixon spinning in turn number 4, going to make contact with the outside wall. It will be our 4th incident of the night with 174 laps complete. He had the car that was the class of the field this evening, but to finish first you must finish, and for Scott Dixon, it didn't happen here this evening.
But the Chip Ganassi stable still has 1 horse in the race, and Charlie cheers on teammate Graham, who dominates the race's final laps.
226 laps will be complete at the line. 2 laps remain. Graham Rahal very nearly. He might have black-walled that tire as he got up against the wall, exiting turn number 4. Again, he's ran that high line all day. He looks pretty slow through 1 and 2. Trying to hold on for dear life. The car bubbles. Justin Wilson goes roaring by Graham Rahal. The magic is back for Dale Coyne Racing and Justin Wilson as Wilson wins the Firestone 550 at Texas Motor Speedway. Graham Rahal winds up 2nd.
It's been a tough night for the entire Ganassi stable.
It's disappointing to get caught out early like that, have a spin and hit the wall. And all in all, a learning weekend all the way through. As far as the Novo Nordisk Chip Ganassi race team, there's really no rest for the weary. You know, they got to turn the car around. We'll go test in Iowa on Tuesday and get ready to go for the race there in a couple of weeks.
As the clock winds down on this IndyCar 36, the crew of the 83 will work deep into the night, making sure this car is ready to test in Iowa on Tuesday, continuing to learn what it takes to get into victory lane.